Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I'm here about to review another wrestling magazine. This is the Pro Wrestling Illustrated December 1988 issue with the infamous Four Horsemen on the cover. You know, this magazine has been talked about as one of the best magazine covers ever. I actually got this magazine in 1988, so you know if you see this thing on eBay, it's like going for about 60, 70, $80 or whatever. So I'm lucky I actually got it back in the day and only had to pay the $2.25 for it, $2.25 for it. So you know, this is one of the infamous covers that everybody talks about. So let's take a look. Okay, got the Von Erich's video, front row ringside. I mean, at the time I really didn't know that much about the Von Erichs. I just knew what I saw in the magazines, and I know I definitely wanted this DVD. Well, actually, it's VHS. My bad, VHS. But yeah, they actually. I think this thing is actually on YouTube now. The front Von Erich's front row ringside. So I guess if you want to see, you can go on YouTube. I saw it and it was okay, but okay. The table of contents. Okay, between the falls, all the letters written. This is the NWA video board game, I guess. So I've never seen this before. So I would love if somebody put this on YouTube. I would love to see what it looked like. Okay, this is a ringside, and it talks about the debut of Kurt Hennig coming to the WWF. Actually, him and Terry Taylor both coming into the WWF at the same time. And there's that rumor that they was trying to decide who would be Mr. Perfect between Kurt Hennig and Terry Taylor. And I just couldn't imagine anybody else being Mr. Perfect but Kurt Hennig. You know, I can imagine Terry Taylor trying to be Mr. Perfect, and I couldn't imagine Kurt Hennig trying to be the Red Rooster. I mean, Terry Taylor was a good wrestler, but man, that Red Rooster gimmick killed him dead. I ain't never seen a gimmick that bad that it killed the career. Terry Taylor was never the same. I saw his work in UWF and the Mid South stuff, and he was really good. But man, that coming to the WWE, man, was probably the worst thing. I mean, he made money, of course. So at the end of the day, it's about making money. But man, killer career move in a negative way. It killed his career because he never recovered from that Terry Taylor, that Red Rooster gimmick, and he was such a good wrestler. It's crazy. Okay, from the death, Stu Stacks. This also talks about Kurt Hennig coming back to the WWF. All the Hulkamaniacs want these issues of Pro Wrestling Illustrated and all his family, the sister magazines. And Focus talks about Honky Tonk Man's record-breaking reign as Intercontinental Champion. And Craig Peters talks about just because he held the title long enough for a long time doesn't make him the best. So, I know there's some people in this magazine that will disagree, specifically Dave Rosenbaum. And on this side, it has the PWI Guess Who the Wrestler Is. And obviously, this is the Honky Tonk Man with blonde hair. And then they got this thing. They have separated at birth. And they have Ronnie Garvin and Barney Rubble. And ever since I saw this, I never saw Ronnie Garvin the same again. Every time I saw him, I always thought of Barney Rubble. The man with the hands of stone, Barney Rubble. Okay, and this is David Rosenbaum, who loves the Honky Tonk Man. His favorite wrestler is the Honky Tonk Man. He's the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. Of course, that reign lasted for a long, long time until Gunther King Gunther broke the record. Okay, Matt Brock looking at Jake the Snake Roberts' career. Eddie Eleanor, before he gets into answering the letters, he talks a little about the death of Bruiser Brody. Okay, the top 10 official ratings. Okay, the top 10. Number 1 is Randy Savage, the world champion, WWF champion. Number 2 is the NWA world champion Ric Flair. Number 3 is the AWA world champion Jerry Lawler. Number 4 is Ted DiBiase. Number 5 is Lex Luger. Number 6 is Sting. Number 7 is the world class champion Kerry Von Erich. Number 8 is the United States champion Barry Windham. Number 9 is Hulk Hogan. And number 10 is the Intercontinental champion, the Honky Tonk Man. The top 10 tag teams. Number 1, the NWA World Tag Team Champions Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. Number 2, the Road Warriors. Number 3, the WWF Tag Team Champions Demolition. Number 4, the US Tag Team Champions the Midnight Express. Number 5, the Powers of Pain. Number 6, the Fantastics. Number 7, the AWA Tag Team Champions Bad Company, Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond. Number 8, the Hart Foundation. Number 9, Kerry Von Erich and Kevin Von Erich, the World Class Tag Team Champions. Number 10, the Rougeau Brothers. You go to the NWA ratings. Of course, number 1 is Ric Flair. Ric Flair is the world champion. The number 1 contender is Barry Windham. Number 2, Lex Luger. Number 3, Sting. Number 4, Dusty Rhodes. Number 5, Dr. Death Steve Williams. Number 6, Nikita Koloff. Number 7, Al Perez. Number 8, Mike Rotundo. Number 9, Ronnie Garvin. And number 10, Jimmy Garvin. Okay, when it comes to the WWE, the world champion is the Macho Man. The number 1 contender is the Honky Tonk Man. Number 2 is Ted DiBiase. Number 3 is Hulk Hogan. Number 4 is Andre the Giant. Number 5 is the Ultimate Warrior. Number 6 is Brutus Beefcake. Number 7 is Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Number 8 is Jake Roberts. Number 9 is Rick Rude. And number 10 is Don Morocco. As far as the AWA, the world champion is Jerry Lawler. Number one contender is Greg Gagne. Number 2 is Sodat Ustinov. Number 3 is Wahoo McDaniel. Number 4 is Eddie Gilbert, which is funny because I don't never remember Eddie Gilbert in AWA. But anyway, number 5 is Manny Fernandez. Number 6, Austin Idol. Number 7, Phil Hickerson. Number 8, Baron Von Raschke. Number 9, Armando Guerrero. And number 10, T.J. Khan. And for world class, the world class champion is Kerry Von Erich. Number 1 contender is Kevin Von Erich. Number 2 is Kamala. Number 3 is Iceman King Parsons. Number 4 is Eric Embry. Number 5 is Steve Casey. Number 6 is Buddy Roberts. Number 7 is Michael Hayes. Number 8 is Terry Gordy. Number 9 is Black Bart. And number 10 is Wild Bill Irwin. Okay, for Stampede, the North American champion is Muckin Singh. The number 1 contender is Johnny Smith. Number 2, Steve DeSalvo. Number 3 is Chris Benoit. Number 4 is Steve Blackman. Number 5 is Bruce Hart. Number 6 is Brian Pillman. Number 7 is Vulcan Singh. Number 8 is Lance Idol. Number 9 is Jerry Morrow. And number 10 is Gamma Singh. CWA, I guess this is Memphis, I think, if I remember. Yeah, CWA champion is Phil Hickerson. Number 1 contender is Max Payne. Number 2 is Brickhouse Brown. Number 3 is Robert Fuller. Number 4 is Scott Steiner. Number 5 is Jeff Jarrett. Number 6 is Gary Young. Number 7 is Jimmy Golden. Number 8 is Jimmy Valiant. Number 9 is Buddy Landell. And number 10 is the Great Shinshi. And Continental, I guess this is when Eddie Gilbert came over to start booking. The title was vacant. Was it the title, the thing to Birmingham? But anyway, number one is Eddie Gilbert. Number 2 is Austin Idol. Number 3 is Lord Humongous. Number 4 is Ken Wayne. Number 5 is Tom Pritchard. Number 6 is Shane Douglas. Number 7 is Tony Anthony. Number 8 is Willie B. Hurt. Number 9 is Danny Davis, and number 10 is Mr. Olympia. Was it something to Birmingham? The battle, the highway to Birmingham, or the road to Birmingham? I think that's what it was for the title tournament that I don't think actually ever happened because I think Eddie Gilbert left before it happened. Okay, and Windy City Wrestling, the Windy City champion is Steve Regal. Number 1 contender is Colonel De Beers. Number 2 is Bam Bam Bigelow. Number 3 is Noah the Barbarian. Number 4 is Larry Cameron. Number 5 is Eddie Gilbert. Number 6 is Terminator Riggs. Number 7 is Dennis Condrey. Number 8 is Randy Rose. Number 9 is Mighty Thor. And number 10 is Abdullah the Butcher. Abdullah the Butcher. Ladies and gentlemen, Abdullah the Butcher. Okay, this talks about Jerry. This article is about Jerry Lawler. How he says, I've beaten Savage and Flair. I'm the best. So he's the AWA champion at the time. And he talks about back in 85, he beat the Macho Man. In 85, he didn't pin Ric Flair, but he beat him by disqualification. So he's saying that being that he's the AWA World Champion, he's beaten the WWE Champion and the NWA Champions. So that means he's the best. So, hey, it's Jerry Lawler. What can I tell you? I mean, he is pretty awesome. So, press conference interview with Precious. And they never finished that storyline between her and Kevin Sullivan. That they did the thing where Kevin Sullivan broke Jimmy Garvin's ankle by throwing bricks on him, and then they just disappeared. And they never really finished that Kevin Sullivan Precious angle. Okay, here's the cover story: The Four Horsemen, The Resolving Door. Who's the next to go? Now this is kind of misleading because by the time it came out, it makes it look like this was after Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson left. But this article was actually written before they left. So it just talks about, they're going back to the days of when it was Ole. They replaced Ole with Lex, then they replaced Lex with Barry. So they're talking about that. This story happened before Tully and Arn left. But by the time this magazine came out, Tully and Arn did leave, and it really looked like this is what they're talking about. But it's completely different. This is the older stuff. But yeah, once Tully and Arn left, the Horseman was never the same. Never the same. And this interview, why Bam Bam Bigelow left the WWE. I guess he said he was kind of stuck in the mid card, and I mean he didn't break kayfabe, but he just saying he was kind of facing the same people, and he was ready for a change. So of course he went to WCW and got wrecked by Barry Windham. The media review. This talks about a pay-per-view. And when I used to read these at the time, I hated reading this because it had nothing to do with wrestling. I hated it, but now when the more you know about it, it's kind of nice to go back and look at this stuff. But at the time, I would always skip through this stuff, skip this column. PWI exclusive, Bruiser Brody's last match. Well, it was a tag team match. Bruiser Brody and Carlos Colon versus Dangerous Danny Spivey and Abdullah the Butcher. And of course, this was the tag team match, and this was Brody's last match because I guess it was 2 days later. I guess This match happened on July 15th, and I think he died July 17th. So, yep, Brody's last match. This next article, it's time for WWF Intercontinental Tag Title. Yeah, they did have a lot of tag teams during this era. So I guess an Intercontinental Tag Team belt wouldn't have been too bad. Maybe put it on the Midnight Rockers, or the Young Stallions, maybe. The previews for next month's issues, or this month's issues of The Wrestler And Inside Wrestling, the wrestler Scandal find out why Ted DiBiase's friends may be plotting to stop his WWE title drive. Scandal, go behind the scenes in this conspiracy that cost Lex Luger the NWA World Championship. Plus, the Midnight Express, we prove we don't need Jim Cornette to win. Police brutality, Big Boss Man invades the WWF, the wild life and tragic death of Bruiser Brody, exclusive Q&A interview with Buddy Roberts, introducing Tom Brady, and Barry Windham in the Wrestler Spotlight. And in Inside Wrestling, a world-class champion, Kerry Von Erich, takes on AWA World Champion Jerry Lawler, and when worlds collide, nobody wins. And find out why Don Morocco begged the WWE not to suspend Greg Valentine. Terry Gordy, Michael Hayes, and Buddy Roberts explain why the Freebird feud must end. Hot seat interview with Lex Luger. The world knows who the real world champion is. Ronnie and Jimmy Garvin face off one-on-one. Dusty Rhodes battles Barry Windham, and the teacher learns a lesson from the student. The rest of the Between the Fall letters, back issues of the Wrestler. See, I wish I could have got something like this, man. This organize and protect your copies of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Would have loved to get some cases and stuff like that. Pro Wrestling Illustrated should start reselling them. Okay, just continuation from the Bruiser Brody's last match. A continuation from Off the Top Rope. Continuation from Ringside. Continuation from the Precious press conference. And the Arena Report. Okay, let me read some of these Arena Report. From the Auditorium Arena in Denver, the Iron Sheik beat Terry Taylor by submission. Dag, Terry Taylor losing right out the gate to the Iron Sheik of all people. 1988 Iron Sheik. Big Boss Man pinned Scott Casey. The Ultimate Warrior beat Bobby Heenan and stuffed him into a weasel suit. Jake Roberts and Rick Rude battled to a double countout. The Midnight Rockers down the Conquistadors. Bad News Brown pinned Jim Neidhart, but grabbed his trunks to do so. And Andre the Giant used the ropes to pin Hacksaw Duggan. From the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, Tim Horner pinned Rick Steiner. Bugsy McGraw wrestled to a 20-minute draw against Larry Zbyszko. Dick Murdoch pinned Rip Morgan. The Mighty Wilbur lost by submission to the Russian Assassin, and after the match, Wilbur got into a fight with Ronnie Garvin near the dressing room, and Garvin knocked him out. Rick Morton and Brad Armstrong beat the Sheepherders. The Fantastic defeated the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette in a bunkhouse match. Mike Rotundo and Steve Williams wrestled to a double countout. And a Triple Tower of Doom match, Paul Ellering, the Road Warriors, Lex Luger, Dusty Rhodes, and Sting beat Kevin Sullivan, Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Barry Windham, and J.J. Dillon. Okay, this is from the Celebrity Theater in Anaheim. Jerry Lawler pinned Curt Hennig to retain his AWA World Heavyweight title. Mondo and Chavo Guerrero defeated Paul Diamond and Pat Tanaka. Medusa pinned Magnificent Mimi. Rocky Mountain Thunder, oh boy, that guy, Rocky Mountain Thunder, it might have been the worst wrestler ever, destroyed Daryl Nichols, and Teo pinned Crusher Krugnoff. So that's just some of the Arena reports. Okay, Wrestling Inquirer, Stan Hansen negotiating with the WWE officials. Could return to the Federation shortly. Says he'll go where the money is. Well, that didn't happen. 'Cause I know Stan Hansen was in that movie, No Holds Barred of Hulk Hogan. Maybe that's where the talks got started, but no Stan Hansen in the WWF. Colonel De Beers back in the AWA. The Rock and Roll Express breakup. Continental buys USA Wrestling. And on the side, it talks about J.R. Foley in Calgary passes away. So, and the PWI poll, the subject, the Powers of Pain joined the WWE. Did the Powers of Pain make the right choice in going to the WWE? 93% say yes, 5% say no, and 2 undecided. Will the Powers run out of the NWA by the Road Warriors? 78% say yes, 19% say no, 3 is undecided. Will the Powers beat Demolition for the WWF Tag Titles? 68% say yes, 16% say no, 16% is undecided. Is Paul Jones to blame for the departure of the Powers? 56% says yes, 37% says no, 7 is undecided. Should Tito Santana be named the Powers of Pain's permanent manager? 36% say yes, 58% say no, and 6% is undecided. Will the Warlord and Barbarian become as popular as the Road Warriors? 11% says yes, 85% say no, and 4% is undecided. Okay, so that is the end of this magazine. Of course, got the WWE action figures in the back. Okay, so this is the review of this is the ending of the review of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Please like and comment and subscribe to my channel, please. Thank you, and I will see you again next time.